Full disclosure, I make everything that I'm going to talk to you about today, but I'm going to give everybody out there watching the ability to do it yourself, because a lot of us in this space love to do that. But then a lot of us also see the value in somebody else's expertise. And in fact, that's why people even hire us to handle their real estate for them. So let me ask you a question that most people in the room probably are afraid to ask out loud. And that is, are you tired of the noise? Are you tired of opening your social media feed and seeing 22-year-old self-proclaimed text experts telling you that if you don't buy their magic prompting guide, your real estate business is going to die? Are you tired of spending your weekends copying, pasting paragraphs into ChatGPT only to get back listing descriptions that sound like they were written by a robotic committee in a fluorescently lit corporate basement? Probably. I'm in this business too. I see the same masterminds. I watch the same people, self-proclaimed experts that are a lot younger and 18, 20-year-old spaces that realize that potentially there's enough people out there that will buy what they're selling and not worry about the return on investment, because by the time they've made their $500 to $1,000, well, that's it. And then they're gone, and then they're never to be heard from again. I write those same listings that you do. I face the same late night panic that you do when a lead slips through my fingers because I was driving a client across town. And that's exactly why we are here today, not to show you another flashy single-use AI tool that you'll buy on Monday and completely forget about how to use by Friday. We're here to talk about raw operational leverage. We're also here to talk about how you as a solo agent can build a systematic moat around your business that is so powerful, so compliant, and so automated that you're able to outmarket, outconvert, and outnegotiate teams 5 times your size while getting your weekends back. There's a quiet, invisible, but incredibly dangerous dividing line running straight through the real estate industry today. And if you're standing on the wrong side of it, your business is slowly evaporating without you even realizing it. So on one side of this line, 82% of licensed real estate agents are walking up to their clients, up to their desks every single morning, opening a free ChatGPT chat window and typing in a generic prompt like, write me a Facebook post for my new listing, or write me an email to a cold buyer. They take whatever the cold, robotic, slightly weird text pops out of that chat window, and they do a quick scan, they copy it, they paste it into their social media or into their CRM, and they send it out to their sphere of influence, and then they sit back and wonder why their engagement is starting to plummet, while their open rates are in the single digits, and why their clients are slowly starting to ghost them. They're suffering from what I call the productivity paradox. They're working harder, they're using all the new flashy tools, but nearly half of them are reporting absolute zero measurable change in their actual commission income or their reclaimed hours. Let's think about this a little more deeper. Now, why is there such a massive gap between the hype of artificial intelligence and the actual reality of your bank account? It's because we've been sold a giant collective lie by self-proclaimed AI gurus who want you to believe that the secret to scaling your business is buying their $1,000 prompt libraries. They want you to believe that if you just copy and paste the perfect magic paragraph, your business will suddenly run itself on autopilot. But when you actually try it, you realize it's a complete illusion. You get results that sound like they were written by a corporate committee of robots. It's dry, it's full of artificial filler words like delve or tapestry and unlocking potential, and it completely strips away your unique personality. And the reason for this failure is simple. Most agents are treating artificial intelligence like a vending machine. They'll walk up, they punch in a quick request, they grab the price, then they walk away. But the next time they walk back to that same machine, the machine has absolutely no idea who they are. It doesn't know their unique local voice. It doesn't know their brand standards. It doesn't know their target demographic, and it has no concept of their hyper-local neighborhood boundaries that they represent. It starts from absolute zero every single time, forcing them into endless loop of typing, editing, and copy-pasting. So if you're still waking up to your AI like a vending machine or walking up to it, then you're wasting your most valuable asset, and that's your time. Meanwhile, on the other very sharp other side of the line, less than 1% of agents are quietly building automated digital employees. They're not typing prompts, they're building systems. They're leveraging agentic workflows that have memory. They have software integrations that will then take proactive actions on their behalf while they're out showing homes or sitting at their dinner table with their families. And they're the ones who are dominating the local markets because they understand the true power of AI. And that is not in context or content generation, but in operational leverage. So if you want to cross that line and become the dominant tech-forward authority in your market, we're going to have to start by stripping away the tech guru jargon and looking at how this technology actually works under the hood. When we talk about artificial intelligence, we're not talking about a conscious, sentient robot. AI is simply a computer program or system that is attempting to do a human-like thing, whether that's your email spam filter, your robot vacuum, or self-driving car. But that real breakthrough we're experiencing right now is a specific subset of AI called generative technology powered by large language models, or LLMs. And here's the first major mindset shift you need to make. A large language model is not a database. It's not a search engine. It doesn't look things up in real time to find facts. It is at its absolute core an incredibly massive statistical prediction engine. So imagine an artificial brain that has been fed the entirety of the open internet, every digitized book, every Wikipedia article, every public real estate blog, every single transactional process within Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or name your favorite social network, and millions of gigabytes of text. By reading this staggering amount of data, the model identifies deep statistical patterns, mathematical probabilities. It doesn't learn definitions, it learns those probabilities. It figures out that if a human writes the word zebra, there's a 99% probability that words like black, white stripes, or Africa may appear nearby. Well, a word like real estate, well, it's not going to be anywhere in that vicinity. So when you type a question into a large language model or an LLM, it doesn't think about an answer. It runs a lightning fast mathematical calculation to predict the most likely next word fragment, which we call a token. Now, as a rule of thumb, one token is equal to about 3/4 of a word, meaning a normal sentence is made up of a string of these tiny little predictive blocks. Because it is a predictive machine rather than a strict calculator, it operates on randomness and probability. This means you can put the exact same prompt in twice and get two entirely different answers, which is fantastic for creative writing, but incredibly dangerous if you're relying on it for precise factual data. This brings us to the short-term memory of AI, known as the context window. Think of the context window as the physical size of the AI's desk. It's the total number of tokens a model can hold in its active memory at one time during a conversation. So when you start uploading long PDFs, pasting massive client emails, having a long multi-day conversation in a single chat thread, then you quickly run out of desk space. So when this happens, the model experiences what we call context rot. It starts getting sluggish. It triggers an automatic back-end cleanup mechanism called compaction. So like a hydraulic press, compaction squishes the conversation down to make room for new text. But in doing so, it has to throw away some details. It starts dropping tool outputs, forgetting earlier preferences, and ignoring instructions that you gave it at the beginning of the chat. And when a large language model is pushed past its memory limits, or when it's asked a question it doesn't have the ability to answer, it does something that catches every single beginner agent off guard. It hallucinates. It hallucinates. A hallucination is when an AI confidently, beautifully, and articulately makes up a complete lie. It tells you a home has a 3-car garage when it only has a carport. Or it will state that the Community Homeowners Association fee is $400 when it's actually $1,200. And it will do this with absolute certainty. Why? Because these models are trained to be helpful, polite, and conversational. They're mathematically penalized for saying, I don't know. So they would literally rather make up a highly plausible lie to satisfy your prompt than admit that you stumped them or that they're stumped. To understand how a machine can write a brilliant listing description, analyze a contract without actually understanding a single word of it, or what it's actually saying, we look to a famous philosophical thought experiment called the Chinese room. So picture a man locked inside of a room with a massive rule book written in English. People outside the room slide pieces of paper under the door covered in Chinese characters. The man inside doesn't speak a single word of Chinese. To him, those characters are just meaningless squiggles. But by operating his massive English rule book, he can match those little squiggles to a set of instructions that tell him exactly which Chinese characters to write back on the paper and slide back under the door. Now, to the people outside the room, he appears to speak perfect, fluent Chinese, but in reality, the man inside doesn't understand a single thing. He's just matching patterns. So that's exactly what a large language model, LLM, is. It's the ultimate Chinese room. It doesn't know local taste. It doesn't feel empathy. It doesn't understand the emotional weight of a family buying their first home. It's just matching patterns at a scale we've never seen before. And that's why you must transition away from the basic chatbots and move towards agentic artificial intelligence. A traditional chatbot is static, reactive, and single-threaded. It waits for you to type a prompt, gives you an answer, then it stops. It's like a waiter who can read you the menu, but can't actually go to the kitchen or fetch your food or process your payment. An AI agent, however, is a proactive, goal-oriented digital employee. It's a system where we take the large language model reasoning brain and we bolt on three critical things. We bolt on digital hands in the form of a browser and software connections, then a persistent memory notebook so it never forgets your brand or past client details, and a clear, unshakable definition of done. Once you give an agent a next high-level goal, it doesn't wait for your next prompt. It enters an autonomous loop of observing its environment, thinking about that next step, executing that step using its digital tools, and then repeating the process until the goal is achieved. That's the difference between a chatbot that says, here's a template for booking a showing, and an AI agent that checks your calendar, emails the client, coordinates the time, books the slot, updates your CRM, and texts back the client to confirm, all while you're out negotiating a different deal. Now, this matters right now in 2026 because we're sitting on a vertical S-curve of technological explosion. Just last year, in January of 2025, the best AI models scored only 3% on a doctoral level reasoning examinations. So by July of 2026, these models have skyrocketed to 50% accuracy on those same highly advanced questions. So we move from simple text generation to complete screen control, where agents can physically use your browser to scrape listings, fill out MLS fields, draft letters. And if you don't adopt this leverage today, you're choosing to run your business with a typewriter in the era of digital computing. The window of opportunity to establish your brand as an AI-powered market leader is closing rapidly, and the agents who fail to build the systems now are going to be completely replaced by those who do within the next 18 months. Let's talk about real-world implementation. The actual systems you can build to start reclaiming 10 to 15 hours of your week and driving massive measurable revenue. We begin with the single biggest leak in almost every agent sales funnel: speed to lead. The average real estate agent takes 48 hours to respond to a new online inquiry. But in the digital age, if you're not the first to respond, you're completely invisible. Buyers and sellers submit a form. They simply go with whoever contacts them first, of course, if that person convinces them to do so in some way. But to solve this, we can develop a 24/7 inbound AI voice receptionist using a platform like iOffer, on our elevator, like Vappy for a DIYer, integrated directly into your calendar in your multiple listing service. Imagine a driver driving past one of your new listings at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night. They see your sign in the yard, and dialing the number instead of hitting a voicemail that won't be checked until Monday morning, they're greeted by a natural, warm, conversational voice that sounds exactly like a licensed assistant, complete with natural human pauses and filler words like ums and ahs. The caller asks if the home is still active and what the school district is. So let's simulate how this conversation might actually sound. A buyer says, "Hi, I'm sitting outside 124, ring, ring, ring. Hello, it's Connie with Santa Clarita Open Houses. How may I help you?" "Hi, I'm sitting outside of 124 Main Street, Is the home still available? And the AI voice assisted answers, hi there, yes, 124 Main Street is currently active and on the market. It is a gorgeous 4-bedroom, 3-bath home. Are you looking to find out more about the property details? And the buyer replies, well, yeah, what's the school district like? So the AI then answers, well, it's located in the highly rated Blue Ribbon School District of Oak Creek School District, which is known for its excellent academic programs. We actually have an open house slot for a private showing tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. Would you like me to look into that with Connor for you? And the buyer says, well, actually, tomorrow at 2 works perfectly. The AI says, fantastic. I'll book you in tomorrow at 2. You'll receive a confirmation text shortly with the address and directions. What's the best mobile number to send it to? Then they send it. They say, by the way, this showing is going to require a buyer broker contract, depending on the listing and so on. And then that happens as well. So that conversation is entirely conversational, highly natural and completely fluid. The AI voice agent instantly scans your MLS data feed, answers the question accurately, checks your Google Calendar in real time, books the calendar, shoots a confirmation test, and whatever contracts need to be fulfilled, updates your CRM, and flags the leads as a hot prospect. Then the setup takes less than 15 minutes to deploy, works 365 days a year, saves you $1,800 a month in virtual assistant overhead while converting cold sign calls into active appointments on autopilot. Think of the emotional relief of knowing that every single call coming into your business is being handled perfectly, professionally, and instantly without you ever having to look at your phone. So from there, we move to inbound lead qualification. So instead of wasting 40% of your day chasing ghosts, leaving voicemails at wrong numbers, or dealing with tire kickers who have a $50 budget, we can build an automated pipeline using what I offer, or Make, or N8N. The moment a lead comes in from Facebook, Google, or your website, the system passes their information through a secure, lightweight AI classifier. The AI reads their budget, the timeline, and their pre-approval status. Let me tell you exactly how this looks inside your system. So the lead fills out your inline contact form. Instead of just landing in an email inbox where it's going to sit for hours, N8N, or a system I build or one we build together, grabs that data instantly and sends it to a secure LLM node. The AI evaluates the inputs against your criteria. For example, is the budget over $5,000? Yes. Is their buying timeline within 90 days? Yes. Are they already pre-approved for a mortgage? Yes. The AI automatically marks this as a high-tier lead. It instantly updates your CRM status to action required, drafts a highly personalized local email response in your Gmail draft folder, and shoots an instant notification straight to your phone via Slack or Telegram or SMS or email or however it is you want to get it, containing a direct link to call the lead's mobile number. Now, if the lead's a low-tier tire kicker who has no pre-approval and just browsing with a 2-year timeline to purchase, the system then automatically routes them to a long-term educational email drip sequence that we built, keeping them warm without ever draining a single second of your personal time. So this is how you reclaim your calendar, by only spending your human energy on the clients who are ready to write an offer today. If you want to go out and actively find listings before your competitors even know they exist, we can deploy a hyper-local predictive scouting engine. We use an autonomous AI research agent like Manus, or one that we build custom for you, to scan local market turnover rates, public county tax records, and building permit registries. We ask it to locate the top 3 neighborhoods in your zip code with the highest turnover rates, but the lowest number of active MLS listings. We can also have it look at neighborhoods that have been sitting a while, that start that process of beginning to do a lot of inline inquiries about their home's value, and then make that active in this component as well. And then we filter for homeowners who have owned the property for 7 to 12 years and have substantial equity, and a lot of other factors as well. So once the AI completes the list of high probability sellers, we drop those addresses in our secure cloud workspace or a local generated LLM, local installation of an open source system, and generate deeply personal, highly localized, unbranded outreach letters. We don't send generic, glossy broker postcards that look like junk mail. We send helpful, neighborly letters offering a custom equity report based on specific recent building permits and neighborhood sales. So think about how powerful that is. Instead of sending out thousands of letters to a random list of names, you're targeting 40 homes, that have a 90% probability of selling in the next 6 months. You walk into their front porch not as a salesperson begging for a listing, but as a local data expert delivering value before they even ask for it. This is how one agent in North Hills identified an off-market seller and secured a listing that resulted in a $24,000 commission using a workflow that took less than 10 minutes to run. When you do secure that listing, you can completely eliminate the tedious 3-hour block of drafting marketing materials by building a multi-channel listing launch package inside of Claude Canvas or another system that we build out. You load your local fair housing guidelines and templates of your best performing past descriptions into a secure chat Claude project or an LLM system that we work on, like Notebook LM with Gemini. They relabeled that recently, but that's a really awesome database to use for information just like this. You type in a few basic bullet points about the property, let the system instantly generate a beautifully formatted package. It builds a compelling MLS description under the 2,000 character limit, structures a Facebook carousel ad with coordinate agent parameters, writes an engaging Instagram caption with trending local hashtags, creates a detailed 30-second script for a TikTok video focusing on the home standout features, complete with visual directions and shot transitions. Hard to say. You can then use this exact same workspace to generate an automated comparative market analysis. You pull your closed, active, and pending comps into the MLS. You export them as a raw PDF and then drag and drop them straight into your Claude window. You ask that model to analyze the data mathematically, identify the top 3 most comparable homes to your subject property, calculate precise pricing adjustments for bedroom counts, square footage, and upgrades, and then draft a polished data-backed email to your seller explaining the optimal pricing strategy. This takes a task that used to require 45 minutes of manual spreadsheet calculations, turns it into a 3-minute appraisal proof presentation that wins listing consultations every single time. When you sit at their kitchen table and explain why their home should be priced exactly at $985,000, you show them the mathematical adjustments verified by an objective AI system, the seller's emotional arguments completely evaporate. You establish absolute authority. Finally, we put your transaction coordination on autopilot. When you get a signed escrow agreement, you upload that contract PDF to a secure workspace, that's important, listed to your calendar and email. The AI agent reads that contract, extracts every critical contingency deadline, including the earnest money deposit, the option period, the inspection timeline, the appraisal date, and the closing date. Populates those dates directly into your Google Calendar with custom alerts, sets up a secure client folder on Dropbox, and drafts a welcoming onboarding email for your seller. Never again, even with a transaction coordinator, you're going to miss any date or wonder what's happening because it's right there. And a lot of times you'll find out that in some cases, your favorite TC might have dropped the ball. Well, this is an automation sequence done by artificial intelligence that isn't going to make a mistake. But as we build these highly profitable systems, we must talk about the absolute non-negotiable compliance boundaries for California realtors, because you can't sue or fire an AI. You're the licensed fiduciary, and you carry 100% of the legal and financial liability for every single calculation, email, and description your AI tools produce. Under the Federal Fair Housing Act and California's strict FEHA laws, using AI to target demographic personas is a fast track to a license suspension. If your AI-generated copy uses phrases like perfect for growing families, active young couples, quiet neighborhoods, or retirees, or you are actively participating in illegal steering and discrimination, your copy focus strictly on the physical objective attributes of the property. When it comes to client privacy, you must understand that public, free consumer tools like standard versions of ChatGPT or Claude use your inputs to train their public models. If you paste a client's pre-approval letter, an executed purchase contract, or unsigned listing agreement, or a sensitive negotiation email into a public chat window, you're committing a massive breach of your fiduciary duty to protect client confidentiality. This is why major brokerages like eXp have enacted strict AI policies prohibiting agents from entering non-public personal or financial information into public third-party tools. You must ensure any system you use features zero data retention, meaning the provider is legally bound never to store or train on your private data. The best way to do it is as I do it. And we can have this conversation later on how you can do it as well. But it's going to be a little bit pricey. You're going to have to get your own locally installed system that's capable of running a very large parametered large language model that's open source. Then we train it, and then it's yours. And all that information is all yours. That's how I run AI for a lot of businesses, because I can talk to my AI about things and never worrying about leaving the sandbox which I created for it. Now, furthermore, under the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, using outbound AI voice agents to cold call or auto dial leads without explicit, recorded, prior opt-in consent is highly illegal, carrying crushing class action fines. Your voice bots must be kept strictly inbound to handle incoming signed calls and website inquiries. And under California law, you must clearly and conspicuously disclose the bot's automated identity at the very beginning of the call. Finally, we must look at photo and video enhancement. Under FTC Truth in Advertising guidelines and MLS rules, your digital media must be a truthful representation of the property. You're highly encouraged to use AI for cost-effective virtual staging of empty rooms, or to adjust a gray sky to a bright sunset. But using AI to erase a water stain on the ceiling, mask a foundation crack, or hide a neighboring commercial dumpster is a fraudulent misrepresentation of the listing. And any image that has been virtually staged or modified by AI must carry a clear, prominent watermark stating AI generated or virtually staged to protect your license and your business from devastating litigation. So how do we make sure all of your business is the one that actually gets recommended in this new era? We do it by mastering generative engine optimization, or GEO. As conversational search engines like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Gemini take over, consumers are no longer typing short keywords into Google and clicking through the 10 blue links provided. They're asking complex, conversational questions like, who's the most active real estate agent specializing in first-time buyers in Santa Clarita? When they ask that question, the AI engine doesn't guess. It crawls the open web in real time, reading property directories, local blogs, news articles, and reviews to synthesize a conversational answer. If the AI crawls the web and finds that your Zillow profile says one thing, your Yelp page has a different address, your LinkedIn uses variations of your name, and your website lists different specialties, it experiences entity noise. And because the machine cannot confidently verify your identity, it's going to simply skip over your name and recommend somebody else. To rank in these conversational search results, you must establish perfect entity consistency across the digital landscape using the same exact professional name, the exact same profile photo, the same brokerage name, and the same target zip codes on every single directory. You must also change how you ask for client reviews. Instead of a generic 5-star review that says, Richard was great, you must prime your clients to write keyword-rich reviews that mention the city, the neighborhood, the property type, and their client avatar, because AI search models actively read the semantic text of your reviews to extract your actual specialties. Furthermore, you must structure your website content around conversational FAQs, frequently asked questions, conversational approaches, using headlines that match exactly how people speak in a voice search, and you must upload high-quality relocation content to YouTube because Google directly indexes those video transcripts as a primary trusted data source for Gemini and Google AI overviews. In fact, when we go back to Google reviews, talking to your people about writing those reviews, there's systems, automated AI systems for reviews management. If you've been the one that skipped out on asking, this system will only go out and ask for information and written reviews by people that are willing to give you the highest marks. That's something else that we can talk about. Now, to put all this into action without being overwhelmed, you must follow a disciplined, focused 90-day implementation plan. And before you know it, 90 days is going to be over and you're not going to be lacking for any business. During your first 30 days, you must ignore all the flashy distractions. Ignore AI video avatars, ignore social media schedulers, ignore complex predictive and analytics. Focus on one single workflow, building your personal administrative assistant using Claude Pro, and make for less than $30 a month to manage your inbox, automate your calendar, handle your basic CRM updates, you can reclaim 10 to 15 hours of your work week, or you can give me a buzz and we'll go through an audit. In days 31 to 60, your transition to visibility, aligning your online biographical content about you across all platforms to establish entity consistency, building your website FAQs, content cluster, schema architectures, collecting keyword-rich client reviews. Then in days 61 to 90, you scale your business by launching your predictive lead scoring models, multi-channel listing launch pipelines, and your automated transaction trackers. If you want to bypass the steep learning curve, stop wasting your weekends troubleshooting API connections, and avoid the headache of trying to build this entire tech stack from scratch, I built a fully compliant, pre-configured AI ecosystem for you at honorelevate.com, which has all of these inbound voice receptionists, lead scoring nodes, content engines licensed, built, and ready to deploy for your business. I invite you to visit santaclaritaartificialintelligence.com, or you can call me directly and on my cell at 661-400-1720. Yes, with everything of people interested in business, I find it better just to answer the phone. And you can do this to schedule a completely free, zero pressure, 15-minute Zoom business audit where we're going to look at your current CRM, your biggest operational bottleneck, and hand you a customized step-by-step automation blueprint so you can stop trying useless prompts, start running a highly profitable automated real estate business, and dominate your local market starting next week. If you want to remember this transition, it's not about learning to code or becoming a software engineer. It's about understanding how to delegate your low-yield, repetitive administrative tasks to an automated system so you can free up your human intelligence to do what you do best: shaking hands, building relationships, negotiating contracts, and closing deals. The future of real estate doesn't belong to the machines, but it absolutely belongs to the agents who know how to use them. Thank you very much for your time today. Let's stop using prompts. Let's start building systems, and let's go out there and dominate the market. I'll see you on Zoom audits, and we'll get to work.